Hello everyone, this is Chris again, and this is going to be my last video blog, and I'm going to basically summarize my experiences throughout my study abroad in Chengdu, Sichuan, China with the USAC program, and I want to go over some of the effects and experiences that I've had since I've been back in the U.S. Presently, I'm back in my hometown of Greer, South Carolina. Uh, I came back to the U.S. the week after my USAC program ended, which was um, about May the 17th. And right now it's July the 28th. It's about 1:30 in the morning, and I thought it was about time that I uh, started going over some of the things that I've experienced since I've been back, and some of the effects of being back in the U.S. after being gone for a year. Uh, I can definitely say with all certainty that my study abroad experience changed my life. It has not only allowed me to open my eyes to another culture, another country, the society within that country, and make me understand more deeply what the people go through each and every day, and not only the things that they love, but also their hardships as well. And it's been really hard, really tough being back uh, for these past 2.5 months. Um, Sorry about that. I have to have a cigarette every now and then. But how can I explain this? It's when I came back, and it really didn't hit me that I was back in the U.S. until I actually got off the plane within in Atlanta. Even when I went through customs and everything, it really didn't hit me. Uh, it was not until my last plane ride, and I remember being on the plane, and the overall feeling of uh, it was like one of those experiences where everything that happened while you were gone is being played from beginning to end and fast forward. And I had seconds where I was uh, remembering times and places and certain things that I experienced within China. And it really hit me whenever I saw my parents who were waiting at me or for me at the Atlanta International Airport. Um, it's odd because since I've been back, I've been able to hang out with friends and family. I've went to cookouts. I went to go have drinks with friends, and I find myself always talking about my experiences in China, even when people don't even bring it up, uh, which is actually uh, rare in any case that they would bring up what I experienced in China. Basically, if I don't say anything about it, it's like it never happened, which is really, really weird. I actually, a couple days ago, I was in I went and did an interview in my study abroad office. They're hiring for internships for global ambassadors to help um, facilitate the study abroad office and gain a wider range of an audience within the student body. And I really wanted to be a part of that, so I applied and I had an interview. And during the interview, she was my uh, the study abroad advisor that was interviewing me was asking me uh, some questions, and I remember uh, telling her that it's really been hard being back in the U.S. since I've been abroad, because family and friends don't really bring up the the fact that I've been abroad or that I was in China. They don't ask for pictures. They don't ask to see them. Um, I mean, I have hundreds of pictures. I've probably got around 1,500 to 2,000 pictures, and I have numerous videos which you can see on my YouTube station, which I will upload this to. And I know some of them have watched them because whenever I post them, they go directly to my Facebook page and they can see them. But since I've been here, they really haven't shown like a really emphatic uh, want to understand what I went through. And I know, even though if I try to explain what I went through in words, it will not compare anything to the actual ability to experience it firsthand. But I guess it's a little irritating to know that, even my loved ones and people that I'm friends with don't take an in or haven't taken interest in it. And like my study abroad advisor that was interviewing me said that it's probably a form of or reaction to jealousy, which I can understand. I mean, it's not every day that you're able to finance a year abroad. I mean, maybe a summer, maybe even a semester, but a year is really really hard to do. And I'm glad that I was able to, through my hard work and dedication with writing my scholarship essays and everything, and the help that I accrued throughout my university and different offices that helped. So really, I would say the hardest part is that these family and friends don't really ask me about aspects of my study abroad, which I can understand also because they don't have any a bit, or they don't have the experience to ask certain questions, so they might not know the questions to ask, and they might not know where to begin. They might not know where to meet me in between me living here within South Carolina for so long and then leaving and going abroad for a year and then coming back. There's this gap of a year where I experienced all these different aspects of a different culture in a different country, and they were left here and to work, school, I mean, basically everyday life. And but it does kind of get under my skin a little bit. So that's a lot why I decided to interview for the position within my study abroad office because I really wanted that outlet to be able to share my experiences and to be able to get all this knowledge that I have accrued over my time abroad and use it to help others and to open up other people's ability to study abroad and experience the same things or even more than I did. Other than that, there's other aspects of life that back in the US that have been really hard. Um, I mean, in China, especially in the city I was in, there was 14 million people, which is twice the size of today's New York City. And and the city that I was in was only probably of the biggest cities, number 8 of the biggest cities in China. But being there, uh, in such a big city, they had public transportation. They had the ability to easily get on a bus. Um, the city only had 2 subway lines, but they were very useful in getting to places. Um, and but the ability to have public transportation, even taxis, and the affordability of public these forms of public transportation uh, allowed me to be able to get out more and experience more. But back here in the U.S., I mean, before I left, I got rid of my insurance on my car because I didn't want to burden my family with payments while I was gone for something that wasn't going to be used. And so basically when I came back, and while I was abroad, I had a job. I was teaching, actually 3 jobs. I tutored a little girl. I tutored 3 more children uh, in another tutoring session, and I worked for my friend Alex's uh, school, his studio, on weekends. And I was basically making enough money so that I didn't have to even touch uh, the funds that I had for living expenses and food. I was Through these jobs and these tutoring sessions, I was able to finance my meals, uh, able to go out and eat good meals, uh, go and adventure into different places in the city and everything. So coming back, I mean, I have no job, and with the job market like it is, compared to that of China, I'm not able to get a job as easily here as I was there. Uh, I am basically stuck uh, with manual labor, which I know, I mean, with my experience, I can handle manual labor, but also my experience within like working for warehouses like I have in the past before I studied abroad, uh, I have weirdly too much experience that I can't get a menial job somewhere like a restaurant or a fast food joint. Even if I applied, they would literally ask me, why do you want this job when you've had these other jobs that pay way more? And the obvious reason is because I need to make money. But sometimes uh, they see that I'm overqualified and they don't hire me. Actually, I applied for a job whenever I came here. I actually wasn't able to get the job for the same reason. Oh, sorry, it's starting to rain now, so if the lens gets a little foggy or if it gets a little wet, I'm sorry. But I'm gonna stay out here because it actually feels good outside. And so, yeah, so not having a car or not having insurance on a car to be able to drive places has put me, and also not having a job has put me into this uh, a little rut, I guess you could say, again, being back in the U.S. Basically, right now, I'm waiting to hear back from the study abroad interview that I did. Uh, I should know something in a couple days. Um, and just getting ready for my last year at Clemson and getting ready for graduation. Uh, so I'm basically a homebody right now, which, being when I was in China, I hardly ever stayed in my room. Uh, I only stayed to sleep or to catch up on rest after work. Other than that, I was working all the time or spending time with friends. Um, Here, friends, things are since geographically things are spread out so much more than a huge metropolitan area, it's harder to meet or hang out with friends or meet with like-minded people, especially when no job and no car. Uh, but so yeah, it's definitely been very difficult being back. Uh, I feel like sometimes I'm trying too hard to show or to uh, hold conversations about China. I think I'm like pushing it, and uh, I'm ending up like I know this is a funny analogy, but if you have ever seen Big Bang Theory, where Howard actually goes to outer space, well, whenever he comes back, uh, it's basically all that he can talk about because he sees it as one of the highlights of his lifetime, one of the biggest accomplishments that he could or could ever um, hope to accomplish. And I guess I see it the same way. I mean, I've been in the same place for 26 years. I mean, I entered my study abroad as a 26-year-old male from the deep south. Um, Never knew that I would have the ability to be able to study abroad, nor the hard work and dedication that it would take to write scholarship essays to even be uh, considered for any prestigious scholarships. So I really see studying abroad as being one of the big highlights of my life so far, and has definitely uh, given my life more meaning. It's shown me that I don't have to settle for the everyday life that people have around me. Um, the starting families, getting a house, uh, basically rooting yourself in one particular area. And I know for the majority of my family and friends, um, this is basically, or South Carolina is basically the the beginning and the end. I mean, they've already made roots here. Uh, so deep that I think it would be very difficult for them to uproot themselves and go to a different country. Maybe on vacation, but not live there for an extended period of time like I have. So I just see my study abroad as um, defining um, a higher threshold of a goal that I have for myself and what I want to accomplish. I mean, I love South Carolina. A part of me loves the U.S., but a part of me wants to go and just experience new things, not uh, catch myself in an endless cycle of waking up and going to the same job that is um, basically life draining, and come home and sleep and do it all over again the next day. Uh, I really want to be able to experience all that the world has to offer. And I'm not sure if that might relate to why I've had such a hard time being able to relate back to my family members and friends. Because, I mean, um, I understand that they love where they live and they want to live here, but it's something that I just can't see myself doing. Uh, I just feel like I have too much to give to settle in this one place and never um, reach out to other countries, other cultures, other societies. Um, so that's really one of the biggest things about studying abroad. It really changes your, not only your perspective on the country and the culture and the language and the society that you lived in, but you come back home with these new eyes and you see a lot of the things that were commonplace and everyday interactions, and you really question why is it like that? Why have we gotten so I don't know how to say, so into a certain way of life that uh, even the idea of living somewhere else or experiencing something far different from ourselves and the culture that we've lived in, uh, and not be at all interested. Um, so it's really opened my eyes to uh, this very ah, it's so hard. It's definitely a dilemma within my own psyche, within what I consider myself as American or not, or as an actual international citizen. I see myself not, I don't want to categorize myself as just an American. I want to categorize myself as something bigger, as a human being, as a part of a species, and being able to interact with everyone, not just specific people within specific geographic locations, or even people who have the same idea or mindset as myself. Um, So, yeah, it's definitely been really difficult being back. But being abroad, like I said, has changed my life forever. I now have definite life goals for myself. Currently, like I said, I'm in my last year at Clemson University where I'm studying Chinese is my major and I'm minoring in philosophy. Um, Within this next year, I plan on volunteering and interning hopefully within the study abroad office. I was awarded a work study, the federal work study program at my university, and I'm currently applying to help tutor uh, Clemson elementary school students who have trouble reading English, which will help gain more experience teaching and build on what I was able to gather while in China and teaching English to Chinese students. Um, I'm also looking to apply for a Chinese scholarship. Um, I Within the next coming months, I'll be studying very diligently my Chinese language and increasing my proficiency within reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And I have to take a international exam within a Chinese exam to measure my level of proficiency, because if I am able to get the level of proficiency needed, I may be able to get the scholarship that I'm seeking and I'm going to apply for in the spring. And because I plan on going back to Chengdu and studying at Sichuan Dashi, which is Sichuan University, for my master's. I want to either study Chinese philosophy to which will balance out my knowledge of Western philosophy with more Eastern philosophy, uh, and or I will study medieval and modern Chinese language by increasing my understanding of the Chinese language, not just of modern but of ancient Chinese. Also, I've made a couple of connections while I was in China. Uh, One of the, as I told you before, I was tutoring 3 children in one tutoring session for one of my jobs. And one of the students, one of the children, was the son of my art in China teacher or professor within the USAC program. We got to talking, and um, she asked uh, me to help teach her child and her friend's children English. They were starting from absolute scratch, starting with um, the basic alphabet and going up to phonetics and being able to put letters together and make sounds within English. And she actually told me about a job uh, opportunity within the same university that I plan on studying for my master's, and I would be teaching oral English to non-English Chinese students or non-English majors that are Chinese students. And basically, I once I experienced China, once I stepped, especially after my week in Beijing, when I stepped foot in Chengdu and I experienced the lifestyle, the laid back, nonchalant, the even though it's a city of 14 million people, it has this southern style of laid back, um, just lifestyle, and I loved it. It wasn't like cities like Beijing or Shanghai that I experienced, where there was just a hustle and bustle, people moving from A to B, A to B, with basically only their job and their career in mind. Instead, in Chengdu, it's more family oriented. Uh, you're able to immerse yourself more into uh, social relationships and build on those relationships more than you would in these bigger cities like Shanghai and Beijing that have somewhat of uh, a good, decent foreign foreigner population. So that's one of the big reasons that I'm deciding to go back and pursue my career prospects and further my education within Chengdu, because it will allow me to get to know more of the culture and society. I mean, being there for a year, I only brushed the surface of Chinese culture and the relationships that make up such a immensely complicated uh, society. And I really want to dig deeper. I want to understand more, and I want to be able to bond more with the people that are there and its citizens. Um, I know while I was there, I had uh, some instances where I was talking to friends I had made and companions that I talked to on a regular basis, and I would tell them in Chinese that I, in my heart, believe I am Chinese just because of the way of life, the philosophy, the the connectedness that you have with all these different people, and you don't feel alone in that society. Something that sometimes I feel like and when I've been back here in the U.S., I feel uh, outside of the academic setting of college and certain offices within my college, I feel like an outsider, basically. Um, I just feel like there's so much more for me outside the borders of my own country. So much that I have the opportunity to experience before I lay my roots down, before I commit myself to one particular place. And that's why I love my study abroad experience. It allowed me to open myself up. It allowed me to understand more of the people around me, but it allowed me to understand who I am and what I want to be. And as hard as it is being back here in the U.S., I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change my study. I wouldn't go back and do something differently. I wouldn't go back and decide never to study abroad, no matter how hard it is back here in the US. I mean, it's going to be difficult anywhere, but I know that with perseverance and a good head on my shoulders and an ability to understand where other people are coming from and understand where I'm coming from, then the sky's the limit. And I owe my life to study abroad. It it has changed me, and I hope that throughout this next year and throughout my life that I can help pave the way for more people to experience what I experienced, to be able to see people in a different light, and even reaffirm who they are and understand who they are and who they want to be. So, all in all, I'm content, and I will fight, and I will work hard, and I will dedicate every minute of every day to get back and experience more and get out there again and lay a foot on foreign soil again and experience everything that I can experience within this lifetime. I hope that this story and my story throughout my time abroad will inspire you to understand that if you have enough hard work and you put enough effort and you dedicate yourself, you can do anything that you want to. And I'm a living proof. I mean, a 27-year-old, $100,000 or more in debt, and I was able to do something that I've wanted to do all my life. So I hope that I can inspire you to take the next step and do what you were meant to do. I'll see y'all later, and I hope that I can make more blogs in the future whenever I go back and throughout my time in my senior year, and I hope that you can walk with me throughout every step of the way. Happy trails.